So you guys, just a quick announcement. I'm currently in the process of upgrading my equipment yet again. This time, it's my laptop. Yes, I do all of my editing from a laptop. And its internal memory and processing capabilities suck. So, I'm going to be starting this in the next month or so. I'm just waiting for the new parts to come in. But the thing is, I know nothing about computers, so I have to get someone to help me out. But if there is any interruption in the uploading schedule for certain times, this is the reason why. Anyway, thank you for the patience, and let's begin. Last time, we saw Jessy confronted by Cassidy, only to have all of her authority overruled by their new boss, the Team Rocket elite, Domino. After going to Mauville City to investigate the rumors of Team Magma, Jessy was finally able to defeat Watson and earn the Dynamo badge. Then, Jessy had to make a choice to part with Dustox temporarily at the request of Domino's. Then, we cut over to James with his capturing of a MEDITITE, as he was in full view of Mount PYRE. We pick up with James as he boards a boat heading toward Mount PYRE, when he hears someone calling him from behind. James turns, and there stands Butch, out of breath, trying to gasp out words. James asks Butch why he is here. Butch was ordered by Domino to catch up with James to establish a base on Mount PYRE. But James doesn't know that Domino is in Hoenn, so Butch plays it off like he is here to oversee James to make sure he doesn't screw up the operation. James doesn't question this, as he has no new info, so he just accepts it, and the two board the ship. During the boat ride, James tries to make small talk, but Butch, out of fear, keeps his answers short and to the point, as not to accidentally give up any information about the recent changes and what basically counts as his demotion. Once the two arrive, Butch debriefs James. Team Rocket believes that Team Magma and Aqua are searching for ancient ruins, and they believe that there may be some here on Mount PYRE. The two stare at the magnificent mountain, and then decide to make their ascension. Butch leads the two to inside the mountain, and the shrine on the top floor. It takes some time, but the two manage to make their way to the top floor. The inside of Mount PYRE is teeming with ghost-type Pokemon. James uses Cacnea, while Butch uses Breloom to clear the way. James is frustrated that Butch is using Breloom, adding insult to injury, but he is happy that it seems to be cared for. It tries to return to James, but each time it does, Butch reminds it that James is no longer his trainer, taunting Breloom with his Pokeball. After clearing out all the ghost type, James and Butch look around, but there is nothing there. Some old gravestones and a lot of dust. Butch doesn't get it. Why would Team Aqua and Magma be interested in this place? James doesn't get it either. Something isn't right. James then questions Butch on the intel, asking if he's sure this was right. Butch reminds James who's in charge and that his insubordination will not be tolerated. Butch's outburst at a simple question has James wondering what's up. As the two start to argue, they feel the mountains start to shake. It's coming from outside. The two start to head back outside. About halfway down, James notices a door that they didn't notice before. He points it out to Butch, so they head outside and are immediately met with a horde of aqua grunts. They are there to provide security and are guarding the path that leads to the top of the mountain. All of the grunts have an army of Crawdon, and it is too much for James and Butch to fight through. But James has an ace. He sends out Wheezing and tells it to use Explosion. This clears the path, and James uses it to his advantage, leaving Butch behind. He does not like this, and Butch chases after James. James fights his way to the top with his Zangoose, Lairon, and his new MEDITITE, with Butch barely able to keep up with just Breloom. Butch is getting more and more frustrated. James is actually able to handle this on his own. He is capable. and it's making Butch look incompetent. Once at the top, James and Butch are met with the admin of Team Aqua, Shelly, and their leader, Archie. Both Shelly and Archie are trying to break down a sealed chamber door with their Crawdon and Mightyena. James orders Zangoose to use Shockwave and Laron to use Rock Tomb. This cuts off Archie and Shelly and gets their full attention. Shelly demands to know who they are and why would they dare interrupt Team Aqua. Butch, in order not to be upstaged by James, announces that they are Team Rocket and they will not be letting them leave here. Archie tells Shelly to handle them while he finishes his mission. Archie and his Crawdon head to the shrine, and Shelly and Mightyena face off against Butch, while James is forced to face off what remains of the Aqua Grunts. Butch and Breloom are struggling against Shelly. Breloom can't stand up to the attacks of multiple opponents, as some of the Grunts have attacked. But James, with Wheezing, is able to take out the Grunts with an explosion, finishing off any stragglers that remain. Then, James steps in to assist Butch with Wheezing. He is able to push back Shelly and turn the tide of this battle. As Shelly is being pushed back, she is ordered by Archie to retreat. They have what they came for. Team Aqua retreats via helicopter, leaving James and Butch standing there in complete stunned belief as they don't know what just happened. James heads inside the shrine, and he heads to the opening created by Archie. Inside the shrine, it's destroyed. Butch follows James in and starts to yell at him. James asks what his problem is. Butch tells James, "How dare you make me look so bad?" James asks what he means. Butch says, "Don't act like you don't know. Coming in here and fighting off Team Aqua all by yourself, then helping me stop Shelly, trying to take all of the credit. What are you going to do, report back to Mount Chimney Base to get me sent back to Kanto?" James asks, "What do you mean?" "I'm just trying to gather intel and stop Team Aqua like you ordered me to." Butch then asks, "Are you getting smart with me? Your superior?" James again says, "What are you talking about?" Butch, tired of James's backtalk, tells him, "That's it. I'm tired of your mouth. Hand over Wheezing." James says, "What?" "You heard me. Wheezing. Hand it over." Butch is doing this to punish James for actions that he thinks James did. James is hesitant. He doesn't want to hand over Wheezing. Butch tells him, "Hand it over or back to Kanto." James reluctantly does so and asks, "Will there be anything else, Butch?" Butch then remarks he has to stay here and establish a base. But in order to punish James, he orders him to give chase to Team Aqua and find their base. Thinking, let's see if James can handle large groups without his prized Pokemon, Wheezing. James is so confused and uncomfortable. Without a word, James makes his way down Mount PYRE. He is thinking to himself the whole way. This whole encounter was odd. Butch being here, his behavior, and his insecurity of James basically saving him. James can't wrap his head around it. As he heads back inside, he is again met with a horde of Pokemon that is being led by a Dusclops. It is ordering all of the ghost types to attack James. James ends up going through all of his Pokemon, fighting off all the ghost types, until he is just him and Meditite left. Meditite is battling hard. James then comes to the conclusion that if he wants to get out of here, he's going to have to take down Dusclops. James orders Meditite to attack Dusclops with the Thunder Punch. It connects, but Dusclops retaliates with the Shadow Ball, which hits with a lot of damage. Meditite is struggling to stay up, but its fighting spirit won't be put down. James orders it to use a Confusion, then to follow up with the Jump Kick. The Confusion hits, but Jump Kick misses, and Meditite is met with a Shadow Punch. This hits Meditite, knocking it back. It is barely hanging on. Then it starts to glow. James uses the Pokédex and finds out that this is Meditite's ability, Pure Power. He knows that MEDITITE's attack is doubled, but he will only have one shot to put down Dusclops. James orders MEDITITE to use Jump Kick. This lures Dusclops in, and when it tries Shadow Punch, but is met with a Thunder Punch that connects with Dusclops, putting it down. James tries to leave, but Dusclops stands back up. It won't stop, and James can see it. So he throws a Pokeball at it to catch it, but the ball fails. James then orders another Thunder Punch from MEDITITE, which then paralyzes Dusclops. James then tries another Pokeball, this time with success. Once Dusclops is captured, the rest of the coach Pokemon lose interest in James and dissipate. James then recalls MEDITITE and heads back to the boat. He needs to get to Lilico City to heal his Pokemon. Now, we pick back up with Jessy. She is on a boat in the middle of the ocean. After Domino left her in the last episode, she decided to head towards Sootopolis City to challenge the gym. But she came across a mysterious island in the middle of nowhere. This island seems that it could be a mirage. It's like it's not real. But it's getting dark, and the captain of the boat has decided to go ashore and to set up camp for the night. But once they are on the island, they are being watched by someone or something. And that's all we have for this episode. What did you guys think? How do you feel about James and his newest team members? What about his loss of wheezing? And how about Jessy? What problems await her on this mysterious island? Let me know in the comments below. I will see you in the next video. Hey everyone. I just wanted to say thank you for your support. If you like the content that I'm providing, please don't forget to subscribe. And also, don't forget to leave a like, as it really helps out with the YouTube algorithm and helps my content get to a bigger audience to help the channel grow. I will see you in the next video.